The name Walking Woman was given to me by Twyla Nitch, Yowinod, a Seneca medicine woman. She imparted to me the knowledge of the medicine wheel, which inspired this global journey. The world wheel is very simple. It is a way of going into communities and the world through the arts. The arts break all barriers. They go through political barriers, they go through religious barriers, they go through social barriers. The world wheel is a way to talk with people, to interact in a community. I came here to Senegal to create one of the sites of my World Wheel project and found that the people were barely surviving. The oceans have risen, a drought has set in, shrinking rivers, drawing ocean salt water into waterways, into wells, into rice fields. Women walk for miles to find potable water to bring back to their families.
This one is
We supported a project that had already begun of purification by placing bottles of contaminated water for 9 hours in the sun on 10 roofs. To help these villages build good wells, we started Women at the Well. Even our small efforts have led to the creation of a few wells that bring life to the gardens and food to the families. We arrived at a village run by a wise and kind queen. Most village women work so hard and now have the opportunity to go to new schools that have sprung up to help eliminate illiteracy. In gratitude that someone came and asked, "What are your problems?" the villagers drew us into friendship, dancing and singing, saying, "This is your home." I began working in villages in 1986, creating environmental stone sculptures and ritual theater as a way to bring peace and understanding between countries. I work in collaboration to address our deepest social and ecological concerns. My hope is to activate the awareness of the interconnectedness of all life. I started the World Wheel in 1986. It came from a dream. I was in retreat in California, up in the mountains, for 5 years, and this dream came to me. In my dream, I saw myself making a big circle around the planet, going to many countries I had never been to, languages I had never even heard before, doing ceremony and my sculptures. In this dream, I saw the awakening of the unity of all life and all people. I began my pilgrimage as a homeless person, having sold my car and my few possessions. In Malibu, I started working with the community. During that time, my identity shifted from what I felt was Vijali. It shifted to the whole. Then I started asking my performer friends in Los Angeles the questions I had asked myself my whole life. The first question was, who are we? Where do we come from? Our body emerges from water, and our spirit emerges from space. And my second question is, what is our sickness as Americans, and how does this sickness affect our world? Our sickness is this arrogance that we feel we know the answers. And in forcing that conclusion on other people, we end up hurting other cultures and causing death, as we did to our own indigenous people and are still doing today. The third question, what can bring harmony to our lives? This is myself as Gaia, the earth herself, asking people to come back to earth, back to an understanding that we're not separate from nature, from the cosmos. If we hurt the earth, we are hurting our own flesh. If we pollute the waters and air, we are poisoning our own blood. We ended the ceremony bringing a balance between the male and female as a way of bringing harmony on our planet. Having visited the Seneca Reservation many times in the past, I was invited by an elder to stay and work there. I carved the sculpture Unity that had 4 faces pouring out of the 4 cardinal directions, with a spiral at the top uniting all humanity. The elder Twyla Nitch told the Seneca origins of life. We enacted the Iroquois peacemaker's life as a solution. He was a young man who lived 500 years before Christ and brought the warring nations of the eastern United States together in peace. Our Constitution is based on the Iroquois Confederacy. In each country, I looked for our community's answer to 3 universal questions I ask. What is our essence? What is our problem? What is the solution? The answers inspired the sculptures and performances that became a part of the community and created a dialogue through the arts. I lived with Palestinian families and Israeli families, and their children planted a tree of peace in a circle of stone sculptures that we carved together. And the children's answer to the solution was, if we understand each other's cultures and can see through the eyes of the other person, we will have love for them. I went to the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem and put my written prayer for peace in the cracks of stone as had been done for centuries. After arriving in West Bengal, India, I took a train to Shantiniketan. On this train, I could hear folk singers in the distance. When they came to my compartment, I kept giving them coins so that they would keep singing. They were the Baal minstrels, and they invited me to their village. They found a hut for me to live in. A few days passed, but I couldn't see myself creating a sculpture. They had beautiful village sculptures. Then I realized the children didn't have a schoolhouse, and many of the wandering Baal minstrels didn't have a place to live. I was offered a space to create a community house. I started working, mixing the adobe with my feet. Every day, people would pass on their way to work and stop and say, "Oh, you don't do it that way. You do it this way." Together, we built a place where the village could gather in ceremony. Children could study, and the Baals could practice and teach their music. They had this celebration and sang in the house and fed 450 people. I was amazed that they could feed so many people out of such simple cooking facilities. They just built a fire outside on the ground and had a great pot of food cooking for all these people. In my youth, I had been a nun for 10 years in an Indian order. So India was very important to me. I felt these were my children, the children of the world.
Through their songs and their activities, they are showing the proper line of life. The way of life, it should be perfect. Always it should be perfect. If you can go through this way, you will get peace, and in this way you can love everybody. Love is the main factor.
সব নিয়েই আমাদের বেঁচে থাকতে হবে আমাদের মতো লোককে যারা সাংসারিক মানুষ
This is the pride which he has got from God through you, which you have given to you. We are very much happy. Not only that, the villagers, they are also very much happy because they have got the meditation room. And most of the Baals, they are coming here and taking rest, taking their food. They are also practicing the spiritual practice. They can concentrate everything.
I felt so close to this Tibetan earth. There is a tremendous spiritual intensity in Tibet. You felt very small and insignificant with the power of the earth. I had a continual prayer every day in Tibet for its liberation.
Is it carbide?
We arrived at Shoto Tirdrun, a valley at 16,000 feet and very sacred to the Tibetan people, where Padmasambhava, their most renowned teacher, and Yeshe Shojel, his consort, had lived and practiced in caves for many years. There is now a cave hermitage with 70 nuns. There seemed to be some strain of the feminine that kept pulling me in Tibet. That was important. The Dakini was guiding me to be revealed in some new way. These elder nuns escaped when the Chinese invaded and lived in the hills, eating only the plants they could find. Many died, but now they have returned to their beloved cave monastery.
And 76.
She's 76?
Yes.
And how?
And 89.
89?
Yes.
And you?
And 69.
I found a cave that wasn't being used and started going there every day to meditate and was given permission to carve a sculpture. I wanted an image that did not represent Buddha or a Christ figure, but was the illumination and openness and connectedness that is in each one of us. Two nuns were walking down the canyon and saw me working. I didn't know what the nuns would think because it wasn't a traditional Buddhist image. They came over to the cave, and when they saw the image, tears filled their eyes, and they threw themselves down on the ground in their traditional full-length prostration. Afterwards, they invited me to their cave, and for hours shared with me their spiritual practices, which was their most precious possession. There was something I touched in the nuns that the traditional temples and statues somehow had not, and I did feel that it was some aspect of the feminine, masculine, some kind of harmony. I think intuitively in my own practices and yearning for that harmony, that it came out subconsciously in this piece that somehow touched these nuns. This is Tirdam Valley, the Valley of Treasures. And this is a little treasure we're going to bury where the sculpture is in the cave. And one has been buried in every country, so this is the one for Tibet. What's in this little jug is dirt from all the countries so far. Tibet is the 10th country of the circle of 12. The Dalai Lama blessed this stone to be left in Tibet. We buried the stone along with the treasure vessel. I met Lama Pema Samdup, who was a spiritual guide for the nuns. He was intrigued when I described this image. He said, "Ah, this is the meditation where you dissolve the lamas and statues, and you enter this void. You become the Buddha yourself." I took a train to Kunming in western China, where I had been given one telephone number. I didn't know what I would do in China. I'm so very, very happy to be in your country. I gave a talk at the university and was told not to bother working publicly because the government would not allow it. After a few days, I received a call from the government requesting an appointment. I worried, did I say too much at the university? Will they ask me to leave the country? But at the meeting, an official said, "We heard about your project for world peace and want to know in which national park you would like to create your sculptures." This is a piece that I did in California.
Yeah.
I usually find stone areas that I like.
Yeah.
And keep the natural shape of the stone, but carve figures into it. Pepperdine University in California gave me a whole canyon to do my sculpture. I call it environmental art. And these are some caves that were there at the university, which I carved. And then we had performances in the area, theater, dance and music. What I wanted to do, I have a little description of it. I wanted to just to carve the faces, the China faces, because there are many groups here. They're so beautiful. And also the animals of China. And so the piece would represent the harmony of life. And I wanted a cultural exchange so that I'm documenting, you know, each piece. So when I go to the next country, I can show the faces. So it's like a world family developing. So those would be the stones there that I would carve, you know, and then people could come and just sit here for a little performance around the area there. I love this here. It's so
I
special.
love
Don't you like
this.
this
Yes,
place?
I like it very much.
I don't like to hurt the plants and keep things as natural as possible. I like to do something creative that's in harmony with the nature, you know, not disturb nature.
他这样呢，他要做的事情呢是跟自然创造一种和谐，而不是破坏自然当中的和谐。
It's a good idea.
They have to do Tai Chi coming down off of the stone. Your idea, creative idea, your creative idea, how to do that, how to come out of the stone and still have it Tai Chi.
可以贴嘛，今天穿这个在不在？
See. I think there's just a natural headpiece. I'm using a lot of the faces of the minority people of Yunnan, and each minority has a hat or a wrapping of the head that's specific for that minority group. I'm starting with the theme of space, of our essence that connects everyone, everything. Merging out of the space is form. And so there's a suggestion of a person whose hand will be coming around here holding a lotus. We've seen so many beautiful lotuses in Kunming, and it's also the symbol of unity. I chose Cezanne, an ancient Taoist forest park, and there carved 5 Kuan Yin figures in the limestone that represented the minority people of the area. At the performance, many people came, some from the university. The Nashi people came from Lijiang bringing their ancient instruments. It was televised nationally. All this from one telephone number. decided to do this project, which I call the World Wheel, and I started in 1986. Through the sculptures of theater, I'm really communicating that we are one family, one earth family. Not only all the people of the earth, but the plants and animals and stone and water and air is part of one family unit that we need to respond to and take care of. When we were dropped off in Siberia, it did feel like we were in the middle of the wilderness. It did seem very isolated and very far from Ulan-Ude, and indeed a mystery. Art has become for me the whole environment, the people I meet, the plants that are growing, the shape of the earth, the whole ambience, and is the choice of media. In Siberia, I chose the site on the banks of Lake Baikal. It holds almost a quarter of the world's fresh water, and now because of the pollution from factories on the banks of the lake, hundreds of species have died. To create the sculpture, we needed many large stones that we were able to find along the local riverbed. The rock I had chosen as the centerpiece for the sculpture was very difficult to move. Other village men arrived and, seeing our struggle, offered their help. In this tiny village on the banks of Lake Baikal, the word of my peace art project had spread. These Russian men came out of nowhere to help gather the stones for the sculpture. With their combined effort, they were able to lift this heavy stone into the truck. Because of the terrible depression of the people when I arrived, and the hope that arose from the people who were involved in the project, we selected where the dark of the forest meets the luminosity of the lake. One reason I work out in nature and not in a gallery is that I feel it is important for people to experience nature and have an excuse to go out of the cities and to look at art in this kind of setting. I created a wheel of 12 carved stones representing the Buryat culture. And at its center we placed a standing stone with the form of the Russian Orthodox cross splaying out around it to integrate both cultures of the area. At the ceremony, the president of Buryat arrived. Local people, along with amazing writers, poets, artists that a short time ago had to live underground because of the Russian government. At the ceremony, people expressed their hope for their future, and women's groups were formed to help with the local problems.
В Арбузинском краю встречу осень свою, незакатных ночей огоньки. Звезды можно достать, только смело сказать, без себя мне не жить.
I want to share with you this wheel, which is the pattern of the universe and also the pattern of ourselves. To bring those dreams into action out into the world. When you hold the stick,
И когда вы ее держите,
you hold it until the spirit moves through you, until you can speak through your heart.
и когда вы ее держите, дух проникает, говорит, из вашего сердца.
I would like to pass the stick around the circle and give every person an opportunity to speak. I chose this spot because it seemed to unite the darkness of the forest and the radiance and light of the call.
И я выбрала именно это место, потому что...
И будем хранить вашу память, ваше сердце прекрасное. Таких людей, как вы, в этом мире, к сожалению, наверное, мало.
И то же, что несет Виджали, красоту, гармонию и добро, свет, мир и счастье всем людям этой планеты. Потому что планета наш дом.
Смотрели, чтобы как-то это всех объединяло. И мы с детьми споем песню, наверное, да?
Показывают прекрасные свои произведения.
У нас на Байкале, в этом святом месте.
Добрый памятник. Бурятская республика, чтобы она наконец-то
ездит по миру и говорит всем людям, что
они... энергии небольшой. Поддержите минутку и помолчим. Я самым сокровенным, пусть себе или детям своим.
As the wind comes from the call, it will blow this prayer into the world. И когда ветер придет,
I journeyed to Japan to collaborate with Ichi Ikeda and Dominic Maizeau at various sites. The last site was in Tonkawa at a Shinto shrine where I carved 12 stones that were placed around the Crystal Mountain Temple. Together, we created a fire ceremony. The priest officiated an ancient Shinto ceremony. Afterwards, the priest asked me to come into the temple's sacred ground that represented the body of the goddess and bury the earth I had gathered from all the world wheel countries as a gesture of world peace. When I first arrive in a country, I let myself be drawn into nature. In Peguche, a small village outside of Otavalo, I spent time at its sacred waterfall and started developing a relationship with the earth. In most of the countries, I don't have a site located beforehand.
¿De dónde es la señora? Estados Unidos?
Estados Unidos.
I let it unfold through friendship without any prearrangement. I would end up cooking in their kitchen, eating with them and hearing their hopes for the future. The women of the village are very knowledgeable about herbs and are natural healers. I had been suffering from vertigo for 20 years, and after the third healing, my vertigo totally went away. Matiko told me the story of how the two male volcanoes of this valley fought over the female volcano, Cotacachi, by throwing stones at each other. One stone fell in Paguche. It was this boulder that the villagers asked me to carve. I would go and sit by the stone and meditate and draw what I felt was the spirit of the boulder. When I showed it to the elders, they said, "Oh, this is Pachacamac, our pre-Incan deity." Then we talked with the presidents of the barrios, women, young people, and the whole village gave their blessings for me to start carving this stone. The women of the village felt that the stone was buried and that we needed to uncover the stone, to uncover their original heritage. So we started digging. Traditionally, the work of men and women are done separately, but on this project they all worked side by side. Everyone was laughing. As we worked, we ran into a boulder that we had to move, and we all had our opinions on how to move it.
Jardines abandonados de mis primeros amores, para ti traigo las flores, las estrellas.
The stone was a lava stone and the hardest stone I have ever worked on. No one in the village had carved before, so I taught 4 men how to carve, following my instructions for the image. The spirit that lives in the stone is called Chuzalunga. The villagers started calling us the lovers of Chuzalunga. Just working together physically, you feel such a close bond. We are brothers and sisters for the rest of our lives. More and more ideas would come, things that they had just held inside. But it seems that this project allowed them to start working on things that they felt they really wanted. One man wrote his poem in Quechua, and the translation is, "If you come to this stone and listen with your heart, you will receive wisdom, and if you touch this water, you will be healed." As we were working, a spring gushed out of the stone. We created a moon-shaped basin to hold the water. Now it is a place for people to come to hold marriages or baptisms. Someone had a dream one night that the stone wanted an offering, so we immediately started preparing for a ceremony. To follow the dream was the most important thing. It was so wonderful to be in a community that lived out their dreams, because I had been working for so many years from my dreams and feeling I was alone. And here is a whole community doing just that. This is their tradition, to give offerings in this way. Not only did we carve the stone together, but we developed a cultural amphitheater and began a chosica, a traditional house for a school. This is the completed sculpture, called Achili Pachacamac. Achili means deity, and this is their pre-Incan deity. Pachacamac is the integration of the male and female, represented by the sun and moon. And they felt that this is what is needed in the world to bring harmony back on our planet. The conch shell is important in their culture. It represents the beginning sound of creation. In traditional times, they would use the conch shell to draw people together. And now they felt this sculpture was drawing all indigenous people together, as well as the people of the planet, into one family. We held the final ceremony for the completion of the sculpture at Inti Raymi, an ancient sun ceremony at the harvest time. At most ceremonies, it is just the village that attend, but this time people came from all the surrounding villages.
I want to thank the whole community, and especially the people who offered their time and work on the sculpture and the whole environment here. Quiero agradecer especialmente.
Yo he estado muy contenta siempre de ser indígena, pero cuando se hizo Achili Pachacama me dio más alegría de ser indígena, porque me enseñó a valorar mucho lo que tenemos. Me hizo valorar, me hizo crecer como mujer, como indígena, me hizo valorar mi cultura. En ese sentido me ha ayudado mucho.
Muy contenta, yo estaba muy feliz con este proyecto, era muy lindo y eso es un recuerdo muy grande para nosotros en la comunidad, es muy importante esa piedra y siempre yo me voy con los turistas.
I feel that it is important to preserve and support these cultures because there are few left in this world that still have community and are connected with the earth. Many of our ecological problems, maybe all of them, come from the consciousness of separation that has developed in the West, where we use the earth and use nature for our very quick gain. The indigenous people are still in tune with the cycles of life, how to live using the elements of the earth without destroying the environment. Chicha, an Amazon beer, is made from yucca root. Because a woman's saliva is considered sacred, they are the only ones allowed to make it. It is very central to the Shuar culture.
La selva, la naturaleza, es nuestra madre, es nuestra vida. Cerca de unas cascadas estamos haciendo escultura de dos mujeres shuar unidas a través de una anaconda. Que implica decir también el poder de la mujer shuar está en la selva para proteger a la laguna, a los peces y a toda la riqueza de los ríos, simbolizado en Chunki, nuestra diosa de las aguas. El mundo actual, la tecnología moderna se olvida de la madre naturaleza, pues las grandes industrias, las grandes fábricas, a la vez van dañando lo que es la naturaleza. Si algún día se da el fin del mundo, no es que Dios nos envía un castigo, sino es que nosotros mismos, nosotros las personas de todo el mundo, estamos destruyendo al mundo.
What I like to do when I go to a place is draw out the visions and deepest dreams of the people in the area. I ask 3 questions. What is your essence? Who are you in the deepest part of yourself? And the second, what is the problem? Why are we not living that deepest part? And the third, what is the solution? What can unfold that essence?
Hace un año tuvimos la idea de crear una escuela en donde nosotros íbamos a rescatar nuestras costumbres, nuestra cultura, nuestra identidad. Muy importante porque nuestros niños ahora no hablan el idioma, se va perdiendo. En el futuro es posible que se pierda el idioma.
Just to go and be in a community, to have tea with someone, these very, very simple acts are what the world wheel is made of.
Hay hombres que son responsables, pero lamentablemente hay otros que no. Tienen hijos, les abandonan y no velan por ellos. Los dejan ahí, si es posible, sin tener qué comer ni qué vestirse, no saben ni cómo vivir o sufren mucho.
Tatsavitur varenyam Bhargo devasya dhimahi.
I was longing to find, where do I belong? After being away for so long, my mind being open to so many cultures, so many people, I went back to my birthplace, but I did not fit into Los Angeles where I grew up. The freeways, the pressure of the life there. You go to art openings and talk about who has a grant and how you survive as an artist in LA. I got in my truck and started driving to the Red Earth country in the Southwest. And when I drove into this land, an eagle flew across my windshield, and we looked into each other's eyes. When I drove into this valley, I knew this was my heartland. This was where I needed to be. Some of the reasons that pulled me into this trip, I would like to share with you. I was abandoned when I was 2 years old. In a sense, this was a way of finding my home, my family, and it ended up being a world family. Many years ago, I was sitting in front of a stone like this, just quiet, meditating, and it seemed as if the stone just opened, and I looked inside and it was luminous. It was as if I was looking into the center of all life and all matter. It was vibrant and it was like an ocean of light that was connecting everything. I realized at that moment that there's that common denominator running through all of life. And it's what my art is about, trying to give a glimpse of that opening into the reality of what we really are here. Doing this type of work around the globe in a circle, and that the circle would represent that wholeness and that vibrant interior life that connects everything. That's why stone is so important to me, and nature, because it's really my temple. It reminds me always of who we are and the connectedness of not only people on this planet, but the animals and the trees and the earth itself, that we're all breathing as one entity, one life together. And if we hurt any aspect of this life, we hurt ourselves. And so it becomes very precious to walk very lightly on this planet. After going to 20 countries, I feel that this is really a prayer, a walking prayer. Now I feel this emergency to continue the work. Our world future seems so shaky. And what is happening to our earth with all the pollution, into the air, into the ground, and into our water? We have to work together. It is nothing that one person can do. To bring awareness of what is happening, to bring solutions globally, to bring peace between countries. We join hands now around the world to bring an understanding of unity and wholeness. Everywhere I traveled with all the different people I met, we rediscovered that at source we're all the same. We are fruits of the tree of life. Can you tell me, friend, what difference is there Hindu or Muslim, Israeli or Palestinian, man or woman. Blood is red. Each heart beats the rhythm of shared life. The work of the sculptures and performances continue, as well as the development of wisdom centers to preserve the indigenous cultures and create a crucible for the knowledge that is necessary for the future of our planet.
To graves our lives, come the tides bring peace to life. Spirit, ride the winds. Move our hearts, touch our wounds. Woman, this is your time. Heal the earth and mind. Woman, heal our times, heal our times. Woman, oh woman, you came from earth. Oh, sing your song, sing your song.